Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more Hearts of Iron 4, continuing on with the Free India campaign. Unfortunately, in the last video, I was a little impatient, and I chose my national focus before I probably should have. What I should have done is just waited a little bit longer for the world tension to go up. But it was just one of those things where it was happening just a few days after I selected the next focus. So we're going to have to wait some time, but what we need to start working on as soon as we possibly can is this focus here, so we can start going down this tree so that we can get independence through a civil war. At least that is the game plan. We're going to go down the Soviet path, gain our independence through a civil war. Hopefully we win that civil war, and then we go on the rest of the path if we so choose. In any case, for the meantime, we're going to go ahead and continue. Now, I'm hoping at that point we'll have enough communist support. Right now, we're a little under 34%. I'm hoping we'll have a majority by the time we get to that focus, which will take minimum 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get to. So that is looking like, you know, your 70 days roughly. So you're looking like at almost a year there for that to finish itself out. And hopefully we get that done before we get dragged into the war. That should be the case, because at the point that we'll finish this, we will be done before the end of the year for 37. The war shouldn't start until later into 39. So we should be done with that in, at worst, early 39, I would say. At which point we'll have our civil war and hopefully, as I said, be able to win it. All right, so we get to modify our government. And we've already done all of these. So at this point, we'll be focusing more on research. So currently, working on mountain infantry. I think we're finishing up 437. The text will be here. Now, we'll have more stuff in 38, which would be here we'd want to finish. And outside of that, we also have the infantry equipment that we could do. Tanks, which I'm not going to put a high priority on, but that is a direction we can go in. Artillery would be another area to focus on. And that being said, we have to consider the fact that we don't have much of an industry, especially war industry. So if I were to think about what research bonus we want, for instance, if we go to material designer, I can either choose infantry equipment or artillery, not both. And I have to kind of, as I said, with what limited industry we have, we probably have to choose a more focused path here. It's probably unlikely that we'll be able to do a lot of tanks, air power, and all that, just with how much of material we can actually produce. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to ignore air power altogether, because I know how much industry that is you need to be able to pull that off. And I know that it's unlikely for us to really, I think, have a realistic chance of that. But infantry equipment, I think, is more realistic to focus on. So probably that's the better move, although we could back it up with artillery. Artillery doesn't tend to take that long to research, so I think I'm going to go with infantry equipment, although, you know, you can make an argument either way. I'm going to go with infantry equipment. And hopefully we'll work on more of that in the future. All right, well, let's go ahead and continue. Let's see how the Spanish Civil War is going. All right, so that is pretty much coming really much to a close. All that has to fall is Barcelona here, which just did. So there goes National Spain winning, and we're now up to 41% for that world tension. So it's very unlikely at this point that when we work on our next focus that we will not have the ability to take that focus, because we only need 10% world tension. Japan is currently at war with China, and when that happened, I think some of the nations down here, there was a nation here and a couple other ones, got sucked into China. So I'm not really sure what the purpose of having them be independent if the second Japan declares war on them, they just get sucked into China. That seems a little odd, but in any case, yeah, so Japan and China are at war. Not a whole lot of ground, I think, has been made. As a matter of fact, I think this was Japanese territory, so if anything, the Japanese have slightly lost territory, and they've got some units cut off over here. And then over here, I don't think the Japanese started with this territory, but I may be wrong on that. And it looks like we also have a landing that happened over here. So we'll have to see how effective the Japanese troops are in this war in China. I've seen this war go either way, but I've always seen, for the most part, Japan struggle with this campaign. I think I've only seen one time where Japan was able to defeat China, and it was just a very quick domination. In most instances, I've seen actually China defeats Japan and pushes them entirely out of the north and into Korea, and mostly the Japanese are sitting in their main island chains. So we'll have to see how that progresses, whether or not that's any better balance than it's been in the past. And speaking of that, the end of the Spanish Civil War, we just found, we already know about that. So I guess we just focus on the Chinese campaign here, which is actually pretty close to where we are. I would prefer China to hold out here against Japan, at least with some success. I don't want them to totally dominate Japan, but I want the Chinese to at least hold out. It does look like the Japanese managed to prevent this group of troops here from being totally cut off, and they're currently surrounding Beijing. And it looks like they're also cutting off this unit and have just wiped them out. So Japanese are actually making good gains here in the north. Their landing in the south looked like it failed. So, but I think the real key here is how well the Japanese do up north, because I expect them to do better up north. And it looks like Beijing fell, so that's looking good for the Japanese. It shouldn't be long before we get our focus here. And we can start working on things. So we just got our research finished. So at this point, we're not quite into 38. So we're going to be having a ahead of time penalty if we research any of these things. I could research motorized troops just to get them done, although that would still take 150 days. Oh, what else we got here? Well, I am working on mountain troops because I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, I think I'm pretty good there. Armor, I think I'm probably going to ignore for now. It might be a good idea to pick up the artillery. And then, of course, we have doctrines here that we can do. And what is our focus going to be? Our focus is going to be what? Infantry weapons, 50%. Okay. Well, if I take a look at the research back here. Oop, right, research, not focus. This is a 60% discount and would only take 90 days to do. I figure we might as well pick it up. And I think we're going to stick with the Grand Battle Plan Doctrine as we already have some progress there. So let's go ahead and pick this guy up. 90 days isn't too bad. And we'll continue. Although I probably should have looked a little bit longer at that to see what else we could have researched. Airplanes. Again, I'm going to ignore air power. And I'm probably going to ignore naval power too. Yugoslavian claims on... Or Italy having Yugoslavian claims is what that said. Let us go on to provincial elections, because that's what we want to work on. We have the world tension high enough, so we can start working on that. And here we go. How is the support of communism going? So right now we're at 35%. And hopefully we can keep pushing that. Ooh, there we go. Class conflicts divide British Raj. The Communist Revolutionary Movement, once a fringe popular among radical academics in theory and troublemakers in practice, has seen increased support among the British Indian working class. The fact that even more people choose to identify themselves with a class at all implies that Marxist ideas are spreading beyond those who actively seek to overthrow the government. INC members lament this development, longing for a time when British India was Indian was what people identified as first and foremost. Their concerns are not unfounded. It could be argued that a revolution is already underway, occurring on several levels of society, and it may be too late to stop it. All right, so change in popularity of communists, 15%. National unity drops 2%. All right, well, that actually helps us, though, in our goal to get a lot of support here, as we have more than 50% favoring communism. So our civil war, I think, will be successful. So we're going to try and push that focus tree as fast as we can. There's other places we can divert. Like, for instance, we can go down to here, the Quit India movement, but that would be a waste of time, in my opinion. I think we need to just go straight for seek help from the Soviets. Now, we're going to lose some autonomy progress doing that. And we have mostly been losing autonomy progressively here as time goes on. Although it might be turning around. Let's see. Nope, it's still going down. Probably not as fast as it used to be going down, but it's still going down for sure. All right, well, let's watch the campaign here. Japan against China. It's kind of stagnated at this point, but Japan definitely has more of a foothold here. And we are going to have to watch for landings and things, because that can happen. Progressing through this pretty quickly. And that next focus is actually going to hurt our autonomy even worse, because we're going to start losing points quite rapidly with that one. So we're going to need to move on through these focus trees as fast as possible. All right, Japan has made some ground here. Actually, some pretty rapid progress lately. I find it very interesting if Italy pushed their claim on Yugoslavia early. They haven't moved on Albania yet, but I figure they'll do that, because that is the historical route that they would take. Germany is working on the Anschluss of Austria. And the Soviet Union, just working on naval stuff. Okay. There is a naval landing here that looks like it was successful, as it did just link up here, and they all also have captured Shanghai, which gives them a port to work with. So Japan is moving across pretty rapidly. So hopefully we don't see that one-sided victory that I've seen in the past. Because as I said, this war goes one of two ways. Either it's a one-sided victory where Japan just sweeps through China, or it's a one-sided victory where China just pushes aside Japan and comes in, takes all this territory down through here. And all that's left is the Japanese Isles, and then, of course, their other Pacific holdings that they're able to hold on to. All right, so we just got some more research. We are into 38 now, so I figure it's time to start working on the engineering stuff. Computing machine is a good research to do. It takes a long time to do, so it's a good idea to get it done as early as you can. And we're going to have enough political power to do some more things here pretty soon. We'll also be able to research infantry equipment and things like that pretty soon. Not too far out from our focus finishing. There's that little bit of territory here that some Chinese troops are in, and if they don't manage to, which they probably won't, get supplies into them, they'll probably get wiped out here. And right now, the Japanese are making a lot of headway driving into the south here. But if they're not careful, they'll get stretched too far and possibly cut off. Because all the Chinese have to do is push into here, although that is a city, so it'd be tough to take. And they've cut off troops here. So they're making ground quickly in the south, but If they don't fortify the area, ooh, see there, that makes things a little bit better. All right, so there's the Anschluss of Austria. And we just got provincial elections, so let's go ahead and go on to the next one. So we're going to go this route because we're going to try and go down to the Civil War because I think that's the most surefire way to get our independence from England. Now, we trade our independence with England to joining the Comintern, but as an independent nation, at least I hope so. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one here. This will give us some autonomy, but you also have to consider the fact that we're losing autonomy on a daily basis at a pretty high rate. We do lose British opinion, though, going this way. Otherwise, not a whole lot else happens. So we'll just go with that. Start. And away we go. Oh, we also can modify the government. As a matter of fact, we can modify quite a bit here. Do we take a theorist at this point? We don't have any expert theorists. So, if anything, probably the land doctrine guy would be the guy that I'd most want to take. And I figure we might as well take him because the sooner we take him, the better. And at the very worst, we're only going to get army experience out of it. So let's go ahead and pick this guy up. Because we are working on a land doctrine right now, too. So having the research bonus would be nice. Okay. And as far as research goes, we'll have that done in 6 days. And then we'll have our mountain infantry done in 12. I will probably start with the recruitment of that. I do want to take a look here, though. All right, so this Indian division, I think I'm only going to do the one, so we'll just set it up that way so that we'll cancel after this guy gets recruited. And then once they get finished with their recruitment, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the mountain divisions, which we should have in there soon. We're building up our convoys nicely. Now, as far as naval stuff goes, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with that at the moment. Okay, so there's the land doctrine. And we're not having really any bonuses there, so I figure let's work on the next thing here. So we get a 55% bonus to improved infantry equipment, so that would take 38 days. Or 45 days for this one. Now, this one has a 5% bonus because Canada has already researched it. I figure we go with the one that hasn't already been researched by others and get that knocked out. I don't think there's anything. I'm going to ignore tanks, so I don't think it'll be very viable for us to do that. We could do artillery here. Going to ignore air power. I can't really do anything with engineering at the moment because we have to finish this one first. And there's nothing to do in industry at the moment. So I think we'll go with the infantry equipment. Again, I'm going to go with the one that doesn't give us a bonus at the moment. That way, when we're done with that, hopefully other nations will give us the bonus for this one because we get 5% per nation in the Commonwealth that completes the research. So we'll do that. It's only going to take 45 days. All right. So the more effective we make our infantry, I think the better. And then once we get the mountain infantry research done, I'll switch over there. And also, how is our autonomy doing right now? We have gained some, but mostly we're going to be losing, as you can see here, as days progress. All right. So for that research, I think I will pick up the artillery because I think we will eventually have enough industry so that we could get this done. We get a 20% bonus. That's pretty good. So I'll start with this. I'd like to have some semblance of artillery, as we are going to have a very infantry-focused setup. And so we were, yeah, see, 381. It's kind of slow, but, I mean, yeah, we're practically losing a full point here every day. goes by, or about a half a point probably. I think we're losing 0.4, technically speaking. All right, class conflicts divide. We'll go ahead and read this real quickly. British Raj, Communist Revolutionary Movement, once a fringe popular, okay. I think this is the same thing we've seen before, so we're going to get even more communist support at the cost of some national unity. Now, we do have leaders that we could install that would bring that national unity back up. But at the moment, we're looking at 67% for communism support. I think it's very likely by the time we'll finish this out that we will have a huge majority as far as that goes, because once we come to seek help from Soviets, we'll get the daily communism support, which will increase that even further. It's not a huge amount, and we'll also get autonomy progress as well to start offsetting the negatives that we have. And then does increase the support of unaligned, though, which is the one thing that we're trying to push out. So we would mostly be pushing out the democratic support here. All right, well, in any case, let's go ahead and continue. Out of curiosity, anything going on outside of the normal stuff? Not really. All right, so let's continue to watch the campaign here. So Chinese troops continue to hold out here. There's been more progress up in the north. The south has slowed down a little bit, but Japan is in striking distance of Nanjing, the capital of China. So it's quite possible they will capture that soon. Yeah, I mean, they're right outside the city at this point, and they should be attacking it, actually, right now. There is some troops up here, but they're not really cut off because the Communist Chinese should be allied. So they should still be getting supplies through that. Now, I hope that Communist China will hold out here better than I've seen them hold out in the past, because they've got a lot of mountains and things, but so far it looks like they have lost some ground up north here. But I'm hoping that this mountain area here will cause the Japanese some problems. At least it should. Alright, so we're going to be ignoring probably all of these research bonuses. So, at this point, we can always swap out a leader if we want. But at this point, let's just start recruiting some of these guys to give us bonuses for our troops while we're still getting the political power. So let's see what we've got. Army defense, division training time, army offense, division attack, army experience gain, armor morale. Or we could go with high command, and it doesn't matter which of these three we choose. So probably with this, it's quite obvious we're going to pick an infantry commander here. So yeah, I think we go ahead and just take the infantry person here, because we're not going to be interested in anything else. So we'll take that, and that will be what we grab for now. Oh, one thing I want to check. How's our construction going? Pretty good. I think it's time we start thinking about some military factories here. So, anywhere that has a capacity of 5 or better, I think should have a military factory. So, let's build... Oop, that was a mistake. I'm trying to build here. There we go. Build one there. Build one there. Build one there. Build one there, there, and there, and there, there, and there. That should cover it from what I can see, so that should be good. And that will give us a total of how many factories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we only have, at this current moment, 3. So that should help quite a bit. All right. Another thing I forgot to do, and I would like to do, is the mountain divisions that we now have. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. So it's going to be a total of 3 troops. I would like to add more troops than that. So we have 6, let's say. And then as far as their support, I would like a engineer company and do we add a recon company? Why not? All right, so we'll go ahead and save that up. Cost us 35 army experience. And as far as our normal infantry goes, we'll go ahead and give them a recon company too. There we go. And let's start training the mountain divisions, and we'll put them in Delhi as well. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue. Ooh, the fall of Nanjing. So, yeah, we saw that coming. Sporadic gunfire, blah, blah, blah. All right. Well, that's not good, but hopefully the rest of China can hold out. Hopefully communist China can hold out. Again, there's going to be, some rough terrain here on the mountains that hopefully the Chinese can hold in. Okay, so we just got that research done. And we still only have a 5% bonus here. We could go with motorized because it would be nice to have some motorized troops, but then I have to, of course, build that with our factories. We also have to consider all the reduction in manpower we have because of the penalties we have. You know what? Because we have such a big bonus to motorized, I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the way. And maybe we can start building that up because we should have the factories coming in here sometime. And then hopefully we'll get more of a bonus here when we're done with this one. All right. Well, because our research is so focused, there's really not all that much we can really research. So we'll probably be working on that infantry equipment soon. And speaking of army experience here, our units are already pretty much maxed out here to the trained level. But we might want to just continue exercising them just so that they continue to give us that army experience. But at the same time, now that we have 10 points, I think I'm actually going to cancel that. Not until we get more troops recruited here. Because I'm just a little bit concerned that we're draining our troop strength by exercising all that time. All right, so let's watch in Japan, our China and Japan war here. So they continue to make ground here. But the good thing is they haven't made much ground up here in the north up against communist Chinese, which is what I'm hoping to see. Hopefully the Japanese troops get ground up on these mountains, trying to take them. All right, so there's our focus. So it's time to start working on all India forward block. And this will get rid of democracy support and unaligned support, as well as giving us some political power, which is all good stuff. And right now, we're at almost 68% for communist support. Okay. So we've got British civil servants woke to a rude shock this morning as the results of the recent provincial elections came in. It is clear now that a large majority of Indians have given their votes to pro-Swaraj candidates in provinces across India. Calls have already started to turn this limited amount of local government into a total self-rule as quickly as possible. A spokesman for British government stressed that now was not the time to discuss such measures, that any transfer of further authority to Indians was out of the question. Freedom is within reach. So we did gain some autonomy there, but unfortunately we didn't stave off the continuing loss of autonomy. So we're going to kind of stick around here for the meantime. Still a colony. But the way out is in sight. We only have a couple more focuses after this one, and we should be golden. All right, we'll just keep an eye on Japan here for the meantime. I don't mind if they have gains. I just hope that they're slow. Okay, so we've got something going on here. The April Revolution. The notion that the communist movement represents the people has certainly gotten wind and its sails in British Raj, where the public support for the Communist Party has increased rapidly in the past months. But those who call for revolution are no longer a disparate collection of guerrillas and disgruntled labor unions. The group behind the call for revolt is organized enough to form a government if they succeed. Nevertheless, if the revolution started now, it could hardly be executed without launching British Raj into civil war. Should the revolutionaries risk tearing the nation in two or satisfy their impatience, or wait for a better opportunity in the future? So we have two choices here. Those who wish to make history must act. So the non-aligned supporters start a civil war. Politics will change. CPI becomes the ruling party. Public elections will not be held. Gains Reign of Terror, which grants political power gain of plus 10% for 730 days. Remove national spirit, communist revolutionaries. Or revolution is inevitable. The inevitable can wait. So right now, we have the choice here of either to go forward with the civil war, or we just wait a little while. I honestly think we should wait. And what do we have? This. Okay, yeah, we're gonna wait for now, but I would like that civil war to fire, and we have a focus to do it anyway. So. But I would like more support than that. If anything, I would like it to be much higher. Well, in any case, this is a good point, I think, to go ahead and put a cut in the video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.